The realization hits. Finally, the truth behind that mental exhaustion you feel, that constant noise in your head, that sensation of always running but never getting anywhere. Have you ever felt like your thoughts are drowning you? Not because you're weak, but because your mind is trapped in constant noise. Sound familiar? Of course it does. Everyone feels it. And yet, everyone thinks it's a personal problem, an individual failure, lack of willpower, lack of focus, lack of discipline. You've been trained to believe it's your fault. But let's cut through the self-help bullshit. It's not you, it's the system. Late-stage capitalism has discovered that human attention is the most valuable resource of the 21st century. And like any valuable resource in a predatory system, it must be extracted, refined, and commercialized down to the last drop. Open your eyes. Your phone buzzes 96 times per day. Each notification triggers a dopamine hit, followed by a cortisol spike. Your brain chemistry altered 96 times without consent, not random, engineered. You scroll through 300 feet of content daily, each image carefully designed to trigger comparison, desire, or fear. Each post algorithmically selected to keep you engaged just long enough to serve another ad. Another extraction of your attention. You're not distracted, you're being harvested. The average person now consumes 5 times more information daily than someone in 1986. Your brain hasn't evolved to process this. It wasn't designed for this constant bombardment. The neural pathways forming in your mind right now aren't natural adaptations. They're profitable deformities. This isn't accidental. The noise isn't a byproduct. It's the product. Every app on your phone employs teams of behavioral psychologists. Their sole purpose: to bypass your rational mind and hook directly into your limbic system. To create compulsion loops you can't escape. To ensure you keep coming back, keep scrolling, keep watching, keep consuming. The noise in your head is manufactured. Remember when silence felt normal? When your thoughts could complete themselves without interruption? When you could sit with yourself for 10 minutes without reaching for a device? That capacity has been stolen from you. Marx called it alienation, the separation of humans from their essential nature. But this is alienation, evolved, perfected. You're not just separated from the products of your labor, you're separated from your own consciousness. Your mental space has been colonized. The data, anxiety disorders have increased 50% in the last decade. Depression diagnoses have doubled. Sleep quality has plummeted. Attention spans have collapsed from 12 seconds to 8 seconds since 2000. But the system doesn't call this a crisis. It calls it engagement. It calls it connectivity. It calls it progress. Look around you. Everyone's head down, bathed in blue light. Everyone trapped in their own personalized noise chamber. Everyone feeling the same isolation, but unable to articulate it. Everyone thinking they're alone in their struggle to stay focused, to feel present, to find clarity. The genius of modern capitalism isn't just exploiting your labor, it's exploiting your consciousness. It's turning your attention against itself, creating problems it then sells solutions for. Can't focus? Buy this productivity app. Feeling anxious? Subscribe to this meditation service. Can't sleep? Download this sleep tracker. Every solution embeds you deeper in the same system causing the problem. It's like trying to put out a fire by throwing gasoline on it. Your scattered thoughts aren't a personal failure. They're the intended outcome of an economic system that profits from your mental fragmentation. Each broken thought pattern is a successful transaction for someone else. Look at your last 24 hours. How many times did you check your phone? How many times did you switch tasks? How many thoughts did you allow to complete themselves before a notification, an alert, a reminder pulled you away? This isn't normal. This isn't healthy. This isn't human. The noise is deafening because it's designed to be. It drowns out something dangerous. Your ability to question, to connect dots, to recognize patterns, to see the cage. When you can't hear yourself think, you can't recognize that your anxiety is political. Your burnout is political. Your inability to focus is political. The noise serves power. But here's what they don't want you to realize. The noise can be turned off, not through another app, not through another productivity system, not through another digital solution to a digitally created problem, through sensory hygiene. One habit to restore clarity. Sounds too simple, doesn't it? That's because simplicity is threatening to a system built on engineered complexity. Clarity is dangerous to those who profit from confusion. Sensory hygiene isn't a wellness trend. It's an act of resistance. It starts with recognition. Every input you allow into your consciousness is shaping your reality. Every notification, headline, image, and sound is programming your neural pathways. Nothing is neutral. Everything is designed with an agenda, usually to extract value from you. The practice is radical in its simplicity. For 1 hour each day, eliminate all digital inputs. No phone, no computer, no television, no radio, no podcasts, no audiobooks, nothing designed to capture your attention for commercial gain. Just you and your thoughts. The first 5 minutes will be uncomfortable. Your brain, conditioned to constant stimulation, will rebel. You'll feel the itch to check something, anything. You'll invent emergencies that require your immediate attention. You'll feel anxious, bored, even angry. This is withdrawal. This is your brain chemistry rebalancing. This is what freedom feels like before you recognize it. Push through. By minute 15, something shifts. Thoughts complete themselves. Ideas connect. Clarity emerges not as a fleeting state, but as your natural condition. By minute 30, you'll remember what your mind was like before it was colonized. You'll recognize how much has been stolen from you, how much potential lies dormant beneath the noise. By minute 60, you'll understand that the greatest luxury in late capitalism isn't wealth, it's sovereignty over your own attention. This isn't meditation. This isn't mindfulness. This isn't another commodified wellness practice. This is reclaiming what was always yours. The data supports this. Just 1 hour of sensory deprivation can reset cortisol levels, reduce anxiety markers, and improve cognitive function for up to 72 hours afterward. Your brain literally restructures itself in the absence of engineered stimuli. But the benefits aren't just biological, they're existential. In silence, you remember who you are beneath the noise. You reconnect with desires that weren't implanted by algorithms. You rediscover interests that don't serve a market function. You remember what it's like to be human rather than a data point. This is why silence terrifies power. This is why every space is filled with content. This is why every moment of potential reflection is interrupted. This is why your phone buzzes even when nothing important is happening. A clear mind can see the cage. The resistance you'll feel to this practice isn't natural. It's programmed. The fear of missing out, the anxiety of disconnection, the guilt of unavailability, these aren't your authentic emotions. They're installed dependencies that keep you tethered to systems of extraction. Try it today. 1 hour, no digital inputs, just you and your thoughts. Notice how strange it feels. Notice how unnatural silence has become. Notice how your mind has been trained to reject its own freedom. Then ask yourself, who benefits from your mental fragmentation? Who profits from your shrinking attention span? Who gains power when you can't complete a thought without interruption? It's not you. The noise isn't accidental. It's strategic. It's political. It's profitable. Your compromised ability to think clearly serves specific interests, corporate interests, political interests, systems of control that depend on your confusion, your distraction, your overwhelm. Think about it. A population that can't focus long enough to read beyond headlines can't organize effectively. A population drowning in its own thoughts can't recognize collective problems. A population addicted to constant stimulation can't envision alternatives to the status quo. The noise is crowd control, and it's getting louder. The average person now switches tasks every 40 seconds. The average office worker checks email 74 times daily. The average teenager receives 150 alerts per day. Your fragmented consciousness isn't an accident. It's the foundation of digital capitalism. The most profitable state for you to exist in is perpetual partial attention. Not fully present, not fully absent, just distracted enough to be suggestible, just focused enough to consume, just anxious enough to seek relief through purchasing, just lonely enough to confuse digital connection for human intimacy. This is the zone where you're most exploitable, and you're kept there through carefully calibrated noise. But here's what happens when you practice sensory hygiene. You become less profitable, less predictable, less controllable. You start noticing patterns in your own behavior. You start questioning impulses that previously felt natural. You start recognizing how much of your anxiety is manufactured and how much of your desire is programmed. You become dangerous, not because you're doing anything radical, but because you're reclaiming the most revolutionary resource you possess, your attention. When you control your attention, you control the foundation of your reality. You decide what matters. You choose what to care about. You determine what deserves your mental energy. This is power in its most fundamental form, and it's being systematically stripped from you through engineered noise. Look at how spaces are designed now. Every waiting room has a television. Every elevator has a screen. Every moment of potential boredom, potential reflection, is filled with content. This isn't convenience, it's containment. A noisy mind is a captured mind. But what happens if you don't reclaim your attention? What's the trajectory? The data points to a grim future, attention spans continuing to shrink, anxiety continuing to rise, depression becoming the norm rather than the exception. Human connection increasingly mediated through platforms designed to monetize every interaction. A population unable to sustain the focus necessary to address complex problems like climate change, economic inequality, or democratic erosion. A population too fragmented to resist, too distracted to organize, too overwhelmed to envision alternatives. This isn't speculation. It's already happening. The noise isn't just annoying, it's existential. But resistance begins with recognition, with naming what's happening to you, with understanding that your scattered thoughts aren't a personal failing, but a predictable outcome of systems designed to profit from your mental fragmentation. Sensory hygiene isn't self-improvement, it's self-defense. Start with 1 hour, expand to 2, then 3. Notice how your relationship with your own mind transforms. Notice how your perception of time shifts. Notice how problems that seemed overwhelming become manageable when viewed through a clear lens. Notice how much of what you thought you wanted falls away when the noise is silenced. This clarity isn't just personally beneficial, it's politically threatening. A population that can think clearly is much harder to manipulate, to exploit, to control. This is why every authoritarian regime in history has sought to fill public space with propaganda, with distractions, with noise. Not just to promote their ideology, but to prevent people from formulating their own thoughts. The tactics have evolved, but the strategy remains the same. Your phone isn't just a device, it's the most sophisticated propaganda delivery system ever created. Personalized, constant, and designed to bypass your critical faculties. It doesn't just tell you what to think, it shapes how you think, or more accurately, how you don't think. The noise ensures you never complete the thoughts that might lead to dangerous conclusions, that might connect your personal struggles to systemic problems, that might reveal how much of your suffering is manufactured rather than inevitable. The noise keeps you isolated in your own head, even as it gives the illusion of connection. But what if you turned it off? What if enough people turned it off? What thoughts might complete themselves? What clarity might emerge? What collective realizations might crystallize? This is the question that keeps power awake at night, because a clear mind can see the cage. And what can be seen can be challenged. The practice of sensory hygiene isn't just about personal well-being. It's about creating the conditions for clarity, both individual and collective. It's about reclaiming the mental sovereignty necessary to imagine alternatives to a system that profits from your fragmentation. 1 hour, no digital inputs, just you and your thoughts. It sounds simple because it is, and that simplicity is its power. You don't need special equipment. You don't need to download anything. You don't need to subscribe or upgrade or optimize. You just need to stop, to be still, to allow your natural state of clarity to reassert itself. This isn't a retreat from reality. It's an engagement with reality on your terms, rather than those dictated by algorithms designed to exploit you. The noise isn't going away. It's getting louder, more sophisticated, more personalized. The technologies capturing your attention are evolving faster than your awareness of how they're affecting you. Your only defense is conscious disengagement. Regular, intentional silence. The creation of space where your authentic thoughts can emerge, where connections can form, where clarity can take root. This practice won't solve everything. The problems we face are structural, systemic, beyond individual solutions. But clarity is the prerequisite for collective action. You can't address what you can't perceive clearly. The noise is political. Your response must be too. 1 hour, no digital inputs, just you and your thoughts. Ask yourself afterward, what became visible in the silence? What connections formed? What realizations emerged? Then ask the more challenging question. What would happen if everyone experienced this clarity? What would change if we could all hear ourselves think again? What kind of world might we build if we weren't drowning in noise?